Jason, what brings you to NADA? What are you looking to get out of NADA while you're here?
It's a great question, Sasha. So I'm looking to connect with a lot of Honda dealerships, a lot of Honda team members, explain to them what I can do with the brand, and learn more about new companies that are doing mostly AI stuff right now. I'm really looking into AI and how AI can help dealerships, make more money, fix ops, and in the front. So just doing some research.
Do you think, but in your experience, do you think there's a buzz around AI in dealerships in general? Like when you visit, do you hear them talking about either getting it or having it or their experiences with it now?
I think there's a huge buzz. The unfortunate thing is no one really knows what it is. They just know the term AI and they know everyone else is using it and they know it can help them, but they don't know how.
Do you think that that's more variable or fixed or both?
I think it's both. I think AI can be used we know AI can be used for anything, everything. So it only makes sense that it works in the automotive industry because there's so many unknowns and so many things that we just can't track ourselves. And AI can track so many things and predict so much more than we can and so much faster than we can, which I think is a powerful tool.
And do you think it's actually intelligent or is it really an advanced like Google search? Do you think that it's actually learning or?
At the beginning, I thought it was just a Google search, but I've come to realize that it does do a Google search because it only knows what we know, right? AI doesn't know anything we don't know. It only uses information that we already have, but the way it processes that information and can regurgitate that information to us is mind-blowing fast. It would take us, hours or weeks with spreadsheets to try to get the information it does in seconds.
Yeah.
So does it think beyond what we think? I don't think so.
But it's definitely adding that efficiency.
Oh yeah.
To whatever solution you're looking for,
Definitely.
whatever questions.
And sometimes you don't even know what the questions or solutions are. Like you have no idea what the question is, and it's like, well, maybe you should look at it this way. I never thought about that, but it, again, just gets the information from what's out there and from what other people have done or said, and it puts it together in such a way, it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And so you're really big on social media. You do a great job with social media on pretty much all platforms as far as I can see. Do you see dealerships focusing more on using social media, whether it be to retain customers, variable or fixed, or possibly get new customers or any variation of those two?
I think both. I think dealerships especially are using a lot more Facebook, a lot more Instagram, just to basically keep their presence alive. Let the customers know that they're still there, answering questions, showing them new product, having fun with them, making them laugh, showing them that they're not just these people looking just to take money from them. And I think social media has really given a lot of dealerships that outlet to help, stay in contact with customers and just show them that, hey, listen, we're still around. And if you need anything, let us know.
Got it. So not necessarily just posting ads on social media, but actually creating some sort of informative content or engaging content.
I think the ones that are doing it right are not just posting ads on social media. And that's basically using it as a newspaper. That's all they're doing, right? They're just posting, $9.99 a month. This a month. We have a new oil change special, which is great, but that didn't really work with newspaper ads. People were getting sick of seeing it, and no one wants to see that on social. They want to be educated and entertained.
Yeah,
and I
that's
think
right.
that's more what the good dealerships are doing right now.
I agree. Let's switch gears really quick. You know what I find very interesting about a little bit about our history and then about you specifically. So I always envied your feature and benefit presentation. Like your product knowledge is second to none. I don't know anybody even remotely close. And since that's more like front end or variable side, do you think that there's any value in that front end or that variable experience that the fixed operation side could use?
100%. So in my mind, this is not in my mind, this is what happens. A customer comes into the dealership with an issue with the car that's actually an issue with the feature. There's nothing broken in the car. They're curious on, for instance, with Hondas, they have remotes 1 and remote 2. And in those remotes, they have different door lock settings. So a customer grabs remote number 1, grabs the door handle, and all the doors unlock. They grab remote number 2 on accident one day, and only the driver's door unlocks. And they bring it to the service department, they go, hey, this remote's broken. And the service advisor, if he doesn't know that feature, writes a ticket. He gets a customer a rental car. The technician takes the car off his bay, is making money on to bring this car in just to find out it's a feature, nothing's wrong with the car. And all that can be solved. The car never has to come out of the technician's bay. The technician can be making money. The customer doesn't need to rent a car, and the advisor can solve the problem in the drive very quickly.
So really, that lack of product knowledge information costs the dealership money.
100%.
Really, not educating their service writers on some of the things that are in the front cost them money in the back.
Money and time, for sure.
They had to pay a technician. They took a car that might have been a customer pay or warranty job off the bay for something that was...
And that technician's not happy. And so now you have a more pissed off technician, right?
Yeah.
And the customer comes back and goes, oh, well, why didn't you tell me that at the beginning? I got this rent-a-car, or I took a day off of work, I sat in your service department, even worse.
Right, so you even went more backwards. So not only that, but now you look bad in front of the customer, you took in their car for something that wasn't... Yeah, that does look bad. You know, one of the things, and the reason I asked that is because I noticed when we launch a dealership, so a new client comes on, you know, once all the paperwork is handled and what our focus is for that particular client, then we do a launch at the dealership. So we go into the dealership, we buy the service department lunch, all the people that we're taking off the floor to educate about the program so that when they come in, they know what to expect. And I found that, you know, in these launches now when I go to these stores, that because I was more variable focused, you know, before I started with TVI, I noticed that there's so many qualities in the front end that they could just use in their personality in the back end or in the fixed ops. You know, instead of typing and having a customer stand in front of them, greet them with enthusiasm, just like they're doing when somebody comes for a new or pre-owned car in the front. I mean, I think that goes a long way, especially when it comes time to present them with the recommended services they need, or possibly other things that they weren't expecting to pay for when they came into the dealership. Yeah. Do you think that's a similar?
It's very similar, but there's always going to be front of the house and back of the house. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be the salesmen and the technicians, the cooks and the servers. Like, they're always going to be a little two different people.
I see what you're saying.
So it's hard to get around that, but I think each definitely have their benefits. But I agree, a little bit more enthusiasm, sometimes a smile, I think would go a long way in the service department.
Yeah, you know why? I bring that up because I use an example at one of the Lexus stores that we represent. I happened to work at a long time ago, so I know that store a little bit more intimately. There's a service writer who hasn't taken a fresh customer in maybe 10 years. In service.
Yeah.
Every his schedule is always full. Everyone knows his name. He knows their name. Yeah. They're bringing him cookies. They know he likes to drag race on Sundays. Like,
it's great, right?
You know, and they probably do 90% of the work that he recommends after the technician.
Well, they know him, they like him, they trust him, just like the salesman.
Yeah. I think that's where I found that correlation. Like, you could take him and put him in and have him up a customer in the front. He would have no problem with it. So
well, you've seen it. You've seen salespeople go back into service, and they usually do quite well. Not many service people come up to sales and do well.
Actually, never. So, you know what? You brought up a really good point. You're right. It's a personality-based thing. And maybe even like a lot of the people that get into those service writer positions, now I'm learning that a lot of them, they come from wrenching. So they were fixing cars, you know, not too long ago. So
not talking to any customers.
And I was going to say, they have no customer-focused experience. That's true.
I mean, I like talking about the differences between the two, and I think the service department can benefit a lot from things that sales are doing. I think sales can benefit a lot with things that service is doing. Unfortunately, with a lot of dealerships, as you know, there's that line in the dealership, and no one ever crosses it.
And it's like,
a shame.
And now from this point of view, like, cross training seems like the most obvious thing. You know what I mean? And those service the salespeople would be more inclined to introduce their client to their new service writer potentially.
And they would be more patient when cars are in service and their customer comes up and goes, what's going on? And the salesman goes back there and screams. They have no idea what's going on back there. So it would make all the difference in the world. And then our dealerships that are very successful at cross-training their entire dealership, everybody understands what everyone else's role is, and they're just more empathetic to them.
And appreciate it, yeah.
Way
So
more appreciative.
if they know what it entails, oh, he just sold a car,
Yeah.
as opposed to, yeah, he negotiated numbers, found a vehicle,
Right.
went to get it washed, in the meantime, got the paperwork
Yeah.
completed, got the customers in the finance office.
On the opposite side, it's just an oil change. It takes 10 minutes at these places. Just bring the car in. They don't understand that there's 20 cars in there, and 3 cars have engines out. And the technician just went to lunch because they worked, 7 hours without a break. So there's a lot that goes into it. So I guess my takeaway would be cross-train all of your people and
100%.
use more social media and have fun with it.